Welcome back to C.O.G Music. I was playing those exercises because I wanted to do a series of videos that I'll refer to as Guitar Tech Talk. I like the sound of that. There's really no other reason. But different things that I feel are important to do and to know when you own an acoustic guitar. This video is going to be on the importance of humidification of your acoustic guitar or guitars. I played those exercises on my Breedlove, and there's a reason for that. Humidifying your acoustic guitar is extremely important, especially where I live. I live in an area of the country that has very cold winters. And with those cold winters comes little to no humidity in the outside air. Your furnace is constantly running. The heat is constantly running in my house, and that contributes to dry air inside. Now, you may be aware of the very often used drop-in sponge in the compartment humidifiers. This is one of them. It's a Planet Waves drop-in humidifier. Simply wet it. I use distilled water to wet the sponge that's inside, and drop it in between your two middle strings whenever storing your guitar. Now, I happen to leave my guitars out on stands, which doesn't let this really work as well as it can work. That will work very well if you keep your acoustic guitar in a case or a gig bag. Otherwise, with the way that I'm using it, with the guitar kept on a stand, it's really only going to humidify the inside of the body of the guitar. It's not going to do much, if anything, for the neck and the fretboard, the headstock, all of the other parts of the guitar that are made out of wood. Those will receive a benefit from that type of humidifier in a very closed-off area. At one point, I was lucky enough to own a Taylor guitar. Just an incredible acoustic guitar. Probably my favorite of all the guitars I've ever owned, acoustic and electric. But the point was, that guitar came with a hard shell case and also came with a different type of Planet Waves humidification system. It was basically a cloth pouch that you removed two humidifying packets from a sealed bag and put them in two sides of the pouch. Then it instructed you to keep your guitar in your case and drape that two-sided pouch over the neck of the guitar when you store it. And that would keep the entire guitar humidified and to the proper levels according to D'Addario that made the system. Very much what you will experience with one of these simple dropped-in humidifiers. Again, in a very closed-off environment, it will humidify all parts of the guitar, but not when it's kept on stands. So, and the reason I'm bringing this up is I recently invested in a pretty large capacity room humidifier that I keep here in my practice area. I've read many things that say the optimal range of percentage of humidity is 40 to 50%. I try to keep my practice area humidified to 45% humidity. One of my decisions for doing that is because specifically of this Breedlove guitar. more towards the beginning of this winter. I use it on a fairly regular basis as I practice. I try to incorporate all of my acoustic guitars into my practice routine. What I noticed with the Breedlove, after I bought it, I had it set up by a local, I'll call it a mom and pop music store. They did a fantastic job. It had its playability issues when I got it out of the box. Took it and had it set up, and it was fantastic. Played awesome. But towards the beginning of this winter, I had practiced with it, had no issues whatsoever, and literally less than a week later, when I went to use this guitar again, I had massive fret buzz at the upper frets across many of the strings. I eyeballed down the neck of the guitar, and it seemed to have a lot of back bow in it, and it didn't before. And I'm like, you know what, I bet you it's because I'm really only humidifying the body of this guitar with that drop-in humidifier. I did a truss rod adjustment, got it playing very well. Yesterday, I went to practice this guitar, and it started to do somewhat of the same thing, but only on a couple of strings at the higher frets. Eyeballing it again, some of that back bow had returned. I did a truss rod adjustment. I got it to the point where it was better, but didn't get rid of all of the buzzings. And what I was noticing was, as I was pressing down on frets, high up, well above the 12th fret on the E and the B string, it was repeating notes at consecutive frets. I would press down and play a note and go one fret higher, and it would be the same note as the note I just played. Some of it was adjusting the truss rod. Some of it I actually had to go, I did a very poor job, but acceptable, as far as filing my frets in those areas. But it got that drastic. And frets themselves will pop and sit higher than they used to sit with lack of humidity. Again, you've got a metal object hammered into a piece of wood. Wood expands and contracts. Guitar necks are no different. They expand and contract. And I'm like, I think I need to go higher with my humidifier that I purchased on the percentage of humidity I'm keeping my practice area at. It generally, I noticed, is between 40 and 45, but I altered the setting on it so that I'm trying to keep it between 45 and 50, and I'd much rather keep it towards 50 and see if that helps. I've got a feeling it will, but it is extremely dry in this area that I practice in. Personally, I feel, again, if you're keeping your guitar out on a stand around the clock, this is only going to do so much. A large capacity room humidifier is a good way to go. Again, if you're going to use one of these, keep your guitar in its case. That's just my opinion. So you just really try both ways and see what works for you. That'll do it for this video, but it is extremely important if you're not humidifying your acoustic guitars in one way or another, you should start doing that. It's very important. Guys, thank you for checking out this video, and I will see you on the next one.